And we are back for one last book review of the first set of books that I'm willing to recommend to anyone to read. This one was hilariously, in many ways, brought to my attention. So to give you the backstory of how this book ended up on my TBR list, I was scrolling through Instagram one day on the Reels section, and I get a lot more book recs on that side. I don't know what it is. I guess I've just liked enough, or either like enough book people or follow enough book people on my Instagram. I'm working on fixing that over here, you guys. But the way I got introduced to this book was by a video that the author's wife had shot, and he had written this book with his school kids throughout the year. He is a teacher. I would hope someone that amazing would still be a teacher, but Marc wanted his students to get to see the cover of the book before they graduated and went on to the next grade. Well, the publishing company said the only way we're going to do that is if you get to see the reveal with your kids. And getting to see this man's face light up the first time he saw the cover of his book with his kids made me instantly, did not know the plot line of this book, did not know anything. Immediately that was an add to my TBR list. Well, it finally came out. And I finally got my hands on Sky's End, you guys. I ended up finishing this one, just like the others, very, very quickly. I was sucked in very quickly. Marc, you have done absolutely amazing with this book. I cannot wait for book 2. I've already told you this on Instagram. I can't wait for book 2. I'm ready for book 2, and I kind of wish I could be an advanced reader's copy kind of person, that I would get that lucky to be able to get a copy, because dang, this story. I am a huge fan of anything that is dragon-based, magic-based, off-worldly sci-fi based. It's always kind of been my thing. One of my favorite series is the Inheritance Cycle. Another series that I very deeply fell in love with was the Shades of Magic series. I actually have the newest book that is the sequel trilogy on my shelf right now. I just haven't gotten to read it yet, and it will end up probably in this gigantic stack of TBR list that I've got sitting on my coffee table right now. But this definitely checked a lot of my favorite boxes. From the get-go, you're just pulled in. The back of the book reads, "In the Skylands, no one can be trusted and no act is selfless. If 16-year-old Conrad means to have vengeance on his murderous uncle and rescue his sister, he must enter the selection, and he must rise." I was very excited to read the back of this, and then reading the summary also kind of gives you a little bit more into the story. Exiled to live as a low, 16-year-old Conrad refuses to become heir to his murderous uncle, but mediocrity is a harsh and unforgiving rule on the floating island of Homestead, and when his ailing mother is killed by monstrous gargantuans, Conrad cuts a deal to save the only family he has left. To rescue his sister from his uncle's clutches, Conrad must enter the selection of the 12 trades. Hunter, the deadliest of all the trades, gains a fresh recruit with Conrad. Now he must endure vigorous training, manipulative peers, and the Gauntlet, a brutal final test that yields riches and status to whichever skyship crew kills the most gargantuans. Forced to serve in the lowest of stations and unseen by all, Conrad overhears whispers of rebellion in the dark. All his life, Conrad hadn't known anything existed below the toxic black clouds of the Skylands. Until now. When I tell you, this thing yanked me in faster than anything, like just those two, you would think would have done it. And I also have to say that chapter 1's opening line also does it for me, just to kind of give y'all a little taste of that. I refuse to be my father, but half of him is me. And it just, I could not put it down, y'all. I literally was like, I mean, we're talking like 30, 40 pages in a sitting. Like, I was having conniptions every time I would get further in this book. Like, it grabs you and it holds on to you. And honestly, finishing it just absolutely murdered me, and I loved every second of it. And I'm sorry if y'all hear scratching in the background. Miss Catherine is doing something she's not supposed to be doing. So, anyways, I hope that if you decide to pick up a copy of this, you definitely let Marc know how you feel about it, because I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I want to gossip and rag about it all the time. It just... I want to forget it all so I can read it again. Like, I very rarely say that about books, but I want to forget that I have ever read this, forget every bit of the story, and go back into it with new eyes. I just do. And if I could do that, I would do it in a heartbeat, Marc. And I honestly cannot wait for book 2. Like, when's it coming out? Like, can we get a hint? Can I get a tease? Like, hit me up in my Instagram DMs. I am totally fine with keeping my yap shut. I did that for Stacy's new book because she told me it was coming out next January. I kept my yap shut. I would totally, and I mean, like, and by Stacy's next book, I meant I was asking about Only If You're Lucky. I don't know when the next book's coming out, and I'm curious to know when it is coming out because I really want to read it, obviously. But, definitely pick up Marc's books, guys and guys. You will not regret it, especially if you are a huge fan of sci-fi things, which, you know, if you're following me, you have to be into sci-fi on some level. So, yeah.